Chapter 625. Oh, my God! Edward could not stop himself from exclaiming out loud when he heard this. Don Stephen actually used a knife to carve the words "pathetic jerk" on Link's son's forehead? You would not be exaggerating if you said that there was a deep hatred between them. Yes, Fury smiled slightly before he said, I guess Link and his son can only dream of killing Don Stephen and getting rid of him in their dreams. When he heard his father's words, Edward could not help but ask, Dad, since you know that there is an enmity between Link and Don Stephen, why did you still invite Link to come for the banquet dinner tonight? Fury smiled again as he said, don't you think that this is an opportunity for us to make use of Link? He is nothing but a stray dog who wants to bite but does not dare to open his mouth. What he is currently lacking is a host that will back him up and support him so that he can open his mouth and bite with confidence in the future. At this time, Edward replied, Dad, if you want to take advantage of this situation and make use of Link, why did you still arrange for the banquet dinner to be held at the Black Pepper? Since Link and Don Stephen cannot get along at all, wouldn't that be making things difficult for yourself? Fury looked at Edward with a deep expression in his eyes as he said, Link and Don Stephen are both dogs. The only difference is that Link is just a stray dog without an owner, but Don Stephen is a dog with the backup and support of the Adair family. Edward nodded before he asked, What, then? What are you trying to get out of this, Dad? Fury replied, If you intend to marry Faria in the future, you have to show your power and influence in Orus Hill. Even though these prestigious and powerful families in Orus Hill are all very polite and respectful toward us, they do not regard us as masters. On the other hand, they regard the Adair family as the master in Orus Hill. Therefore, we will have to develop our own forces and power in Orus Hill. After that, Fury continued speaking. There are two kinds of forces in this world. First is the public force, and secondly, the underground forces. The public forces are those prestigious families who do serious and decent business with the exception of the Joey family and Don Stephen who are part of the underground forces. If we cannot subdue Don Stephen, then, we should train and raise a dog who will be able to challenge and fight against Don Stephen instead. In my opinion, the Joey family is best suited to take on that role. Fury looked at Edward before he gave him a serious warning. If you want to inherit and take over the Whale family in the future, you have to be skilled in planning your strategies. Do you know the reason why I invited Link to come for the banquet dinner at the Black Pepper tonight? First of all, I want Link to feel pleasantly surprised. He is nothing but a stray dog with no backup or owner, but he was actually given the opportunity to have dinner with someone as powerful as me. On the other hand, I also want to make Link feel very humiliated. How? As a stray dog without an owner, Link would have to suffer and endure the humiliation of swallowing his anger when facing his mortal enemy, Don Stephen. His desire for revenge will only be doubled when he suffers even more humiliation. At that time, I will be merciful and offer Link an opportunity to become my dog. That will give him a chance to exact revenge on Don Stephen. He will definitely be very grateful toward me, and he will go all out and give everything he has to take Don Stephen down. As Don Stephen is the mobster boss of the underground world will eventually be dominated by the Whale family when he falls from his throne. Do you understand what I am planning to do now? Edward came to a sudden realization when he heard his father's explanation. He could not help but say in excitement, Dad, I think that your plan is absolutely wonderful. In that case, Link will surely treat you and the Whale family as his savior and benefactor. That way, the Joey family can become the vanguard that will pave the way for the Whale family when we want to enter Orus Hill in the future. Fury replied, That's right. This is the only way for Orus Hill to become an indestructible hinterland for the Whale family. Edward truly admired his father's strategy and could only sigh as he said, I do not know when I can ever have at least 1/10 of your ability, Dad. Fury smiled slightly before he said, Your current behavior and personality are already very similar to how I was during my younger days. All you have to do now is to accumulate more experience, precipitate more, think everything through slowly, and be patient and not impulsive when figuring things out. After listening to his father's words, Edward said, "Dad, I understand now." Okay, Fury nodded in satisfaction before he said, "Let's get back to the topic about Faria. You have to be steady and patient, like an eagle that is keeping watch on its prey. Make sure that you win Faria over and bring her into the whale family." Edward replied respectfully, "I got it, Dad. I will definitely live up to your expectations." As soon as his voice fell, both of them had already arrived at the entrance of the Black Pepper.